Live. Hello everybody. Welcome to this demo session, episode 2. Gonna wait just another minute or so for people to come in before we start. You should be seeing a blank yellow screen shortly, if you don't already see one.
Yes, we do. Hi, Steve.
Awesome. Hey, oh yes, and my co-host today is M with M. You may have seen him around on Telegram, Reddit, Keybase, GitHub, everywhere. Welcome. So the main items for discussion today, like we mentioned on Twitter and Keybase, is upgrading to Tor v3 and going over dispute resolution. So we'll go over those in a moment, but as you might see on the top of your screen or on the top of the video, the minimum deposits for Bisq trades have gone down to 0.001 Bitcoin. So they used to be 0.006 Bitcoin, which is of course a lot of money with the current Bitcoin price. So those were lowered to make it more feasible for beginners and really anybody to get started trading. So just wanted to make sure you guys knew that. I'll probably remove that text in a little bit, but yeah. What's up, DJ? John T. Welcome, you guys. All right, I guess we can get started. People can join as they join. So, yeah, first item is upgrading to your Bisq instance to a Tor v3 address. This is really important because Tor v2 is going to be no longer supported in July of this year, so in just a couple of months. So it's really important that you do that. We just published an article on how to do this. I'll put the link in the chat so you guys can see it. Of course, we'll go over it now too, but just so you have the link, here it is. And essentially, I have a Bisq instance that I want to show you guys some things on. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me make sure that it's visible. 1 second. Do you guys see a Bisq window on your screen?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Cool. Let me take 1 second. Let me take this text off so it doesn't overlap. Oops, did I do something wrong? Yeah, I did. Okay, sorry, I'm still getting used to this setup. I have like 35 windows open. Okay, so this is just a typical plain vanilla Bisq instance. And if you want to see the first order of business is to determine whether or not you need to even upgrade your Bisq onion address. Because it could be if you got Bisq within the past couple of months, I forget exactly when the change was made, but recently Bisq started to generate Tor v3 addresses by default. So it may be that you don't even have to upgrade, but you can tell by going into settings and network info, and then scrolling down to where it says Bisq network and my onion address. If you have a long address, you already have Tor v3. If you have a short address, you don't. So you can tell, like on my screen down here on the connected peers section, you can see that there's some addresses that are longer and some that are shorter. If your onion address up top here looks like one of the longer ones down here, then you're good. If it looks more like one of the shorter ones down here, then you should upgrade. Okay, so how do you upgrade? Well, the first thing to do is to back up your data. As with anything Bisq related, you're in charge of your data, and so if anything goes wrong, you've got to have a backup to make things, you know, right again. So the way you do that is you go to Account and Backup, and you can just select a backup location. Okay, so when you do that, you'll get your system's file explorer, and you can pick a folder that you want the backup to go to. Once you do that, you'll get something like, I have a window open here in 1 second. You'll get something like this. And this will be the backup that Bisq will export for you. Now this is a complete backup. It includes your wallet backup, it includes a backup of your Tor keys, your other signing keys, other various account data, account payment accounts themselves, as well as other trade data. Everything is here. What we are most concerned with today is inside the Tor folder, your hidden service folder. I recommend that you keep everything backed up, but if you have to pick and choose, make absolutely sure that this hidden service folder is backed up somewhere, because we're going to be deleting this in order to upgrade the Tor to a Tor v3 address. Okay, so just to recap, to back up, go to Account, Backup, and select Backup Location. Once you do that, this Backup Now button will show. I don't know why it's not showing right now. Yeah, there we go. So once you have a backup location there, click Backup Now, and of course make sure you store that somewhere safe, either offline or encrypted somewhere. But whatever you do, make sure you have this Tor hidden service folder backed up safe somewhere. Once you do that, you're ready to go. Just make sure, one more thing that you got to make sure that you understand is that before you change your onion address, you cannot be in any open trades and you cannot have any open disputes. If you upgrade or in any way change your onion address while you're in an open trade or in an open dispute, you will no longer become reachable because your address will have changed and you will not be able to complete those items. So be 100% sure that you have neither of those open trades or open disputes before you change your onion address. Having an open offers is fine. The next time, so when you change your onion address, as soon as you open Bisq the next time, Bisq will update those offers to become available from your new onion address, your new hidden service. But yeah, open trades and open disputes are a no-go. So make sure you complete those before you do that as well. And I think the only other thing to note is, I don't think I can show you here, but actually I can show you, hold on. The only other thing that you should know is that updating your onion address will also change, it'll refresh your local reputation, which is this little bubble. If you can see here on this avatar, this little bubble that says 3. All this means is that I've traded, this is just a reg test local test instance, but it just means that I've traded with this other peer 3 times. This count, which you may have seen if you've completed trades on Bisq before, just shows you the number of times you've traded with a peer at a particular onion address. So when that onion address changes, those bubbles will disappear. And so if you're using those to identify peers you would like to trade with that you've had a good experience with in the past, just note that those bubbles are going to be gone. You'll get a new address, and so those bubbles will no longer be relevant. So just be aware of that as well. So once you've determined that you don't have any open trades, that you don't have any open disputes, and that you've done a proper backup, whether it's the whole backup of the whole Bisq data directory, or a backup of that hidden services folder that we were looking at before, right here, you can go ahead and and change your onion address. And the way you do that is you close Bisq. You have to make sure Bisq is closed. So we're going to close Bisq. I think that should be okay. I don't need that anymore. And just delete this folder. That's it. Once you delete this hidden services folder, so I'll just go ahead and delete it now. When you start Bisq up again, it'll recreate that folder. It'll create a new set of keys, a new onion address, and you'll be good to go. It'll create a Tor v3 address by default, and you will be ready to go for July when Tor v2 is deprecated. So that's the process there. I'm taking a look at the comments here just to make sure I'm covering any questions you guys have asked or any other points that you guys have raised. All right, so that's that. It's pretty simple. It's just a matter of deleting that hidden services folder. But before you do that, you want to make sure that you're in a good spot so that you're not missing anything. Oh, one more important thing. We kind of already covered this, but the reason you want to make sure that your hidden services folder is backed up is that in case you do need to go back to your old onion address, all you have to do is replace the new hidden services folder with your old hidden services folder, and you'll be able to access your old trades and old disputes, which could be important if you wanted to reopen a past dispute. Let's say trade went fine, but then a few weeks or a few days later, something happens, there's some kind of fraud or a payment is charged back or something. Rare, but it is known to have happened in the past. Well, then in that case, you're going to want to open a dispute on an old trade. And in order to do that, you're going to have to have your onion address from the time of the trade. So that's why we're really insistent that you back up your hidden service folder so that you can do that if it comes down to that. Unlikely, but you just want to be prepared if that does happen. Any questions? Oh, yeah, so there's a comment that, I guess a response that Hui made on the payment accounts. I don't know what it was a response to, but I will comment just so people know that your Bisq data, that full backup that we went through just now, it does include everything. So it includes your fiat payment accounts, your altcoin payment accounts, your signing status, includes everything. But what's very important to note is, and I can show you, let me get that Bisq window back up that I had before. If you do a payment account, export from the interface, this is very confusing for new people. You're not going to get your signing status. So if you go, like this is just a dummy account. Both of these are dummy accounts. But if you click this export accounts button in the account section of Bisq, you'll only get the metadata for the payment accounts. So like the email and the name, you'll get that and you'll be able to import it into a new instance of Bisq, but it's not going to include the signing status that enables you to do bigger trades. To get that, you also have to copy the sig.key file from your Bisq data directory. So there's an article on that. I can go into that more if people want to know more, but just know that that's kind of a quirk of backing up data in Bisq, is that the cryptographic element of payment accounts are not exported with the export function in the software. All right, let me take one more look at the chat. Okay, no questions. So let's move on now to dispute resolution. This is, of course, a big reason that a lot of people use Bisq. I think a big reason that Bisq has so much of the value that it does. It's, the multi-sig so-called escrow that secures every trade and aligns the incentives for each trading party to do the right thing is what keeps Bisq trades mostly successful and orderly. But of course, things can go wrong, and that's what we would like to cover today. What do you do? What are the best ways to handle these situations when they come up? And yeah, so let's walk through that right now. I have a test instance here for Bob, and I have a Alice coming up right here. Alice is in light mode, Bob is in dark mode, just to give you guys, to make it more obvious which window is which. And I guess we can start by doing setting up a trade. So let's have Bob. All right, Bob's going to create a new offer. Just make it 0.01, just keep it simple. The amounts don't matter here. Of course, if you were making an offer on your own, you would probably want to be a little more careful about this, but I'm going to just rush through this since we care more about the dispute resolution than we do about the trade itself. Wait, what is this? Oh, this must be another trade. Wait, 1 second. Let me get rid of that trade so it's not so confusing. Just give me a moment. Because I could have used this trade as well. Anyway, okay, we'll just continue with the plan. Okay, so sorry about that. So we have Bob, who's created an offer to buy Bitcoin. Okay, so now we're going to go to Alice, and she's going to see that offer here on the sell Bitcoin screen. So she's going to go ahead and take Bob's offer to sell Bitcoin and pay trading fees, transfer funds. So until this point, there's really not much you can do wrong. I mean, aside from, yeah, there's really not much you can do wrong. Confirm the offer to take. Okay, so at this point, you've seen an offer you like, you've taken the offer, and you have funded your intention to take it. So you sent the Bitcoin for your taker fee, and you've posted a deposit, and you're waiting for that transaction to confirm. So let me go ahead and confirm it. Okay, so now the deposit transaction has confirmed. So this is so before this point, there isn't really anything that anybody can do wrong. It's just the trade hasn't really even started yet. Now that the deposit transaction has confirmed, this is when each peer has to carry out their part of the trade. The buyer makes the payment, and the seller confirms that payment and releases the Bitcoin to the buyer and their deposit back to themselves, which is where things can go wrong. So let's see. So at this point, let me go to, so Alice is on her trade screen. I'm going to go to Bob. So he's on his trade screen. So in the happy path, if everything goes well, Bob will click, he'll make the payment, in this case using, is it Zelle? Yeah, using Zelle. And once he's done that, he will click payment started, and Alice will get that message and then release the Bitcoin. But let's say something isn't quite right. Let's say that Bob is, I don't know, maybe he's at work or maybe he's traveling or whatever and didn't see that his offer got taken. and he's just taking his time. Like he isn't making the payment and he hasn't clicked on this payment started button. Typically, and I'm with them, let me know if I'm like off here, but typically I think it's recommended that you try to work with the peer as much as possible through Trader Chat. So Bisq has a built-in encrypted chat function that you can get by clicking on this chat icon. So Alice could just go and chat and say, you know, hey, you know, or I don't know, like, where's the payment? You wouldn't actually do this probably because it's kind of a vague thing to ask somebody, but in any case, if you're wondering if it's taken a while, like let's say it's been like, it's a 4-day trade period, let's say it's been 3 days and you're wondering what's going on, you can just send them a quick message, open up the chat window and ask them what's going on. While, like I said before, while you're in the trade period, you want to try to keep it with your trading peer as much as possible with Trader Chat. I guess the exception to that is if something weird is happening, like if your peer is telling you weird things, if they're sounding kind of strange, if they're asking for a different payment method, or if they're asking for some kind of something that doesn't smell quite right to you, then you might want to open a dispute. The way you do that is Control O. So if you're on a Mac, that's Command O. If you're on anything else, it's Control O. And you'll see that the software will really ask whether you're sure or not to open a dispute. Like I said, we want to keep disputes with mediators only for emergency cases. But in this case, we'll go ahead, for the sake of showing you guys how it looks, we'll go ahead and open a dispute. Did that with Command Control O.
Wait a second. Did you click already open for ticket? Yes.
What was
okay. Yes. Just I wanted to point that if you don't know this shortcut, after the end of the trade period, the trade chat becomes the trading chat button on the lower left side of the screen for Bob becomes open mediation button. Okay, so you can open it without the shortcut.
Yes, that's a good point. Yes. Yeah, so it's not.
So this shortcut should be used only in case of something goes wrong, like the buyer used a payment reference, or is trying to scam you, or something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's a very good point. It should be a very serious situation for you to open mediation during the trade period.
Or maybe a bug. If there's a bug, you don't need to wait for the whole trading period to expire.
Yeah.
You can just open mediation and talk to the mediation what's happening and try to find a solution for it.
Exactly. And this is partly why the opening mediation is not such an obvious thing, and it's purposely kind of hidden because it's usually not needed. It's only in cases where, like, you know, M was just saying, where it's something, either a bug or some kind of serious issue that you're having with your peer.
Yeah, some users activated mediation for simple questions. That's why it was hidden until the end of the trading period.
Yeah, and that's another good point. Like, if you have like a general sort of question about like how things work or whatever, like, feel free to ask it somewhere like Telegram or Keybase or Twitter or, you know, somewhere else. It's not necessary to open a mediation case, and it could be, you know, it could be detrimental to do that too, because yeah, it's just more friction than you need.
Yes, for example, if you're trying to get your account signed and you open mediation, the signing won't work. So it's important to know that mediation shouldn't be open for easy things or general questions.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So we went over Trader Chat and we went over how to start mediation if you feel like you need it. Okay. Now, mediation is probably a bit different than most people imagine. On Bisq, mediation, or I should say mediators, have limited power. They cannot unilaterally decide how funds are going to be, or how a case is going to be decided. All they can do is make a suggestion. So a mediator is going to ask both you and your trading peer for details on the case. What's the issue? Why did you open a dispute in the first place? And once they hear from both sides, they'll make a determination and make what we call a suggestion. They're going to suggest what should be done. They're going to suggest a payout. So I have a mediation window open here, so let me go there and do that. In this case, we're going to say that the peer was late. Okay, so you'll see that that Bob is just got the mediation message of this suggested payout. And let me do the same thing for Alice. Okay. So now you can see Alice also got a message. Oops, wait. Okay, here it is. Okay, now if you happen to be on Bisq, when you get the mediation message, you'll see a window like this. But if not, again, and with them was saying earlier that it's not always obvious. In order to see this message, you go to, it's Portfolio, Open Trades, and View Proposed Resolution. I guess it's not in the support section like you might think it is. Yeah. Yeah, so if you want to see the proposed suggestion from your mediator, go to the Portfolio tab, choose the trade that you want to check on, and then View Proposed Resolution on the left panel. And there you'll be able to accept or reject the mediator's suggestion. The important thing to know here is that both peers have to accept the mediator's suggestion for it to take effect. If only you accept it and your peer rejects it, it's no good. And you're going to have to go through arbitration and get your funds back that way. Okay? So if you think it's a fair payout and a fair resolution to your issue, then go ahead and accept it. But if not, reject it. And if you accept it and your peer rejects it, I believe you'll have to go back into Bisq and request arbitration on your own. And with them, do you know, is it the same dialog box? Or
if you don't agree with the mediator, for me the best is to try to, if it's possible, to reopen the ticket. There is a button for that. Go to Alice side on the right, and you have the reopen option. Or another possible thing to do is to go to Keybase and find your mediator. You can speak with them directly. They tend to be very active on Keybase.
Okay.
You have this reopen button, and at least this way, the other peer will know why are you rejecting, or mediator already will know that he made a mistake. Sometimes they made a mistake, or whatever.
So can you reopen a case? Can you reopen a case after both peers have either accepted or rejected?
If it's rejected, it doesn't. if it's rejected, maybe making another mediator suggestion won't work, but at least the mediator will be informed that why you will be able to explain that to mediator, and that's better for the overall dispute resolution. I mean, if it has to go to arbitration, at least you already are informing about what's happening, or the mediator will be able to explain to you what's the next steps to do.
Right. Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and what should we do here? Okay, well, it's pretty if you accept it, then the trade basically ends here and you get the suggested payout that's on the window, on the pop-up. If not, and this...
Yes, both traders need to accept it.
You're right.
And if you reject it, well, maybe it's better to tell why are you rejecting that to mediator, but to open arbitration, you have to wait until the lock time transaction is ready to go.
Right. Right. So we should probably like just kind of mention here that I don't know the exact percentage, but it's like probably it's well over probably 90% of trades.
No, 99. 99. Yeah. Only 1% of the trades go to arbitration.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, 99% of trades are either go smoothly or they are resolved with mediation. So mediation, very simple. You open a case, you tell the mediator what's wrong, and they'll suggest an outcome, and then you either, most of the time they're accepted, and you're good. Now, for the 1% of cases where that doesn't work, you proceed to arbitration. Arbitration is basically the same as mediation, except the arbitrator will reevaluate your case and then pay you the funds that they think you deserve as the outcome for that trade. There's a little bit more to this. Essentially, when you reject a mediator suggestion, the funds that you deposited into the escrow are sent away. So they're taken out of the control of, they're sent from the 2 of 2 multisig with what we call a delayed payout transaction to another address that neither you or your peer control. And the idea behind that is that we want to incentivize both peers to do the right thing, and I guess it's called the concept of mutually assured destruction. If you know that you're going to lose your funds, then you're going to want to do the right thing. And so this rejecting the mediator's suggestion is kind of the last step in that process of, okay, you didn't do what you needed to do during the trade, and you don't like the outcome that the mediator is suggesting, so funds are going to be sent away. And if you really think you're innocent and you really think that you did the right thing, then make your case one more time to an arbitrator and they'll pay you back. Yeah, so the idea there is that an honest person will have a case at that point to get their funds back, like a truly honest person. If you're a scammer or somebody trying to engage in foul play, you don't have much of a case, and first of all, you're not going to be incentivized to get to that point in the first place, because you know you're going to lose your funds if you're found out. But if you do get to this point and you do lose your funds, you don't have a case to get your funds back from an arbitrator. So again, this only applies to 1% of cases. It's a bit convoluted. We're working on some diagrams to explain it better. There is some documentation. Actually, let me put on the wiki so you can see the overview of how this works. Bisq.wiki/dispute resolution. So I guess for the sake of completeness, let's go through and reject and show you what, can't do that. So yeah, the other thing I forgot to mention is that you have to wait in order to engage arbitration, and that's just another measure to discourage people from getting to this point in the first place. So not only do both parties lose all their like deposit funds by rejecting a mediation suggestion, but they also have to wait in the case of fiat trades 20 days in order to engage an arbitrator. For altcoin trades, it's 10 days. For fiat trades, it's 20 days. But the idea is that if things didn't go smoothly through mediation, like you want to incentivize things to go as smoothly as possible to never have to do arbitration. Like arbitration in a perfect world would not even exist. It only exists because there needs to be another layer in the minority of cases in which things can't be solved beforehand. But I guess I can hold on. I think I can make 4 blocks and get this. Let's see. Reject. Okay. So I just rejected the mediator suggestion, and my trade is now in arbitration. Okay, so now this probably looks identical to the mediation that we just saw, because it pretty much is. It's just with a different person. Now, when I chat in this window, I'm talking to an arbitrator, and I'll explain my case, and they'll make a determination one way or another and pay me Bitcoin that will hopefully resolve the case once and for all. And I guess one more thing to note is, if for whatever reason you're still not satisfied, there's always the option of going directly to the Bisq DAO. This, I think, might have happened once or twice in the past, where arbitration happened, and the person didn't like the arbitration result and went to the DAO and explained their case to the DAO. When I say the DAO, I mean the biggest stakeholders in the Bisq project, who collectively vote on approving or rejecting proposals made to the DAO. And so this guy made a proposal to the DAO saying that he was not treated fairly, and gave his reasoning. Mediator and I think the arbitrator both made their case in the GitHub issue as well, and I think the guy was ultimately refunded and made whole by the DAO. So, moral of the story, I guess, is that there's never a kind of black hole or black box with Bisq dispute resolution. Although it might seem a bit convoluted, you always kind of have the ultimate say, right? So in the case of, starting out on Trader Chat, you talk directly with your peer, try to make it work. That doesn't work, talk to a mediator. Okay, 99% of the time, you'll be good. Mediator will make a good suggestion and you'll be on your way. If that doesn't work, you'll talk to an arbitrator. Arbitrator will evaluate your situation and pay you back if it's warranted. If that doesn't work, like I said, I think this has only happened once, but if that doesn't work, then you take your case on your own to the DAO and make a final appeal to a much broader audience, to the DAO and GitHub, to be reimbursed. And so yeah, there's multiple steps, and you will be taken care of. So that's my somewhat tripping over explaining Bisq dispute resolution. Anybody have any questions or things that they want to see that I didn't go through? Or I'm with them, any comments?
Well, you need to explain again all the case to the arbitrator, because the trading chats and mediation chats are encrypted, and there is no way to send this to the arbitrator. So keep that in mind. if sometimes the arbitrator doesn't know anything, and traders get upset about it because they say, I have to explain everything again because the arbitrator doesn't know anything of what happened before, which is also kind of good for the traders because it's a new vision of all the trade.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, chats are not they're not shared.
Maybe this changes for the future, but I don't. This is not being worked on, so it has also a good point about it, which is that the arbitrator will ask to the mediator what happened. Will try to get their own view.
Yep. Okie dokie. Let's see, anything else to cover? All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Oh, so Decentralized is asking about Tor v3. This goes back to the previous topic, but I can connect with my node through Tor address v3. Okay, I forgot to go over this. I meant to, I think it's in the wiki article, but yeah, there's a lot of Tor going on with Bisq. Okay, so there's Bisq itself, which is a hidden service, and then there is a bunch of other hidden services that Bisq connects to trade and get information and data and all kinds of stuff. So one of those connections, you can say, is a Bisq node. A lot of people want to connect their own Bisq node to Bisq. That's different from the Tor v3 that we talked about in the beginning of the call. Okay, I also see that Haram's answered the question. Okay, yeah. But I guess I'll just finish my explanation. Yeah, so the Tor v3 address for Bisq itself is different from connecting to another hidden service with a Tor v3 address. So yeah, right now, connecting to a Bitcoin node that's running Tor v3 is not supported, but that's separate from upgrading your own Tor instance or your own Bisq instance to Tor v3. Okay, so regardless of how you're connecting to a Bitcoin node, it's recommended that you upgrade to Tor v3 for Bisq as soon as you can. And that, unfortunately, that weakness, I know a lot of people have been asking about connecting to Umbrel and other nodes. That weakness it's because of a project called Bitcoin J. So Bitcoin J is the library that Bisq uses to interface with the Bitcoin network, and they are working on Tor v3 support, but they haven't quite merged it yet. So Bisq is limited to Tor v2 Bitcoin nodes for now, but hopefully that'll change soon. Okay. All right, any final questions? That's all I had for today. We're already at about 43, 44 minutes. And with them, any last comments?
Well, DJ Cipher asked if funds are lost when they move to arbitrator's address. For starters, it's not exactly the arbitrator address. It's a different address, a different role.
Yeah, it's a question of how. So I guess the real mechanics behind the Bisq dispute resolution system are a bit convoluted. I was going to show you guys a chart of how it works, but I think me and with them talked about it beforehand and thought it might be a little bit too much for this call. Wanted to stay practical, but yeah, I mean, you're right. The Bisq, the funds, when they are sent away in a delayed payout transaction, are technically going to
in my opinion, they're lost because you don't have the keys for that fund, so they're lost. But
Yeah.
you have the option to ask for a refund from the arbitrator, which is also called a refund agent, or even the DAO, which will refund you in BSQ. But there's essentially lost. Yes, I think it is. I mean, maybe it's
Yeah.
it can be discussed, but to me they're lost.
Right. Yeah, they're effectively lost. I mean, like I said before, they're pretty much taken out of the control of you and your trading peer. I mean, where they go after that is
Well,
we could talk about
well,
that, but
not not even taken out of control. I mean, one of the peers who already signed for a transaction that will be in the future um, send it away. Maybe it's yourself who send it away in order to get a better, in order to get them back, but they're not yours anymore.
right, right, right. Yeah, we have some documentation on this on the wiki, but we're gonna shore that up a little bit because I think it's a point of confusion. It's hard to explain.
Yes, it's important, but it's only for 1% of the cases.
Right,
And
right.
the way it's working good. It's been working good enough.
Yep. Yes, sir. Okay, so that is changing your onion address, updating to Tor v3, and an overview of dispute resolution and how it works practically for trading if you ever do come across it. Arbitration, mediation, trader chat. There's a link on the chat, on the YouTube chat, for an overview on dispute resolution if you want to learn more about it. And I'll wait just a few more seconds for anyone who wants to, if you guys have any questions, any lingering questions. Otherwise, we'll call it a day. Cool. All right, well, I think that's it. Thank you guys for joining, and thank you, Emmett, for co-hosting. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you. Take care.